If you've bought yourself, for example, a McDonald's franchise, then don't try to make your own burger. People who focus on the right things at the right stage are the ones who achieve success the fastest. One principle that has really motivated me, both as a private individual and as a business owner, is adopting such proven systems. And one such system that I have used for years is the profit first principle, which means that your company pays a certain percentage of its revenue, that is turnover, into a profit account every month. And once a quarter, half of the money accumulated in the profit account is paid out to the owners. And often, as owners in the company where we ourselves are active, we actually have two roles. We are aware of the role that we work in our own company, meaning that we should actually receive fair compensation for this work in order to properly reflect the so-called health of our company. If someone else were working in my place, we would likewise have to pay them some kind of compensation. So paying compensation to yourself is entirely justified. But there is another role for which entrepreneurs often forget to pay themselves. That is the risk you took as an owner to create this company for yourself. And I just spoke with a fellow entrepreneur who has also implemented the profit first principle in their company. And what he did differently was that he only adopted part of the system. So while he does pay himself compensation as an owner, he does not pay himself so-called dividends for the profit every quarter. And from here, we actually had a very interesting conversation where we came to the conclusion that when I was once involved with a franchise company, one thing I learned at that time was that if you take over a ready-made functioning system, you should adopt it 100% exactly as it is. And for some entrepreneurs, this is actually a very big challenge because entrepreneurs tend to be creative. They want to do things their own way. So often, if we leave out certain elements, those are the invisible parts whose impact can be so significant that it actually ruins the whole system. So if you are about to adopt a ready-made system, my encouragement is to take it exactly as it is. Try it out for yourself, put it to work for you, and you will actually see all the benefits and why the system was created exactly the way it is. So if you are using the profit first principle, then also use the profit payout. This is actually an additional motivation for the business owner. They realize that the work I have done, the risk I have taken, actually pays off. And when I also see that the profit portion increases every quarter, it gives me extra motivation to invest in the company. A similar example is actually the financial freedom journey map created at Starfish. It is a ready-made system that explains which activities to focus on depending on the level you're currently at. Now again, many people tend to come up with their own solutions there instead of following a system that already works today. And what we have also seen in our inner circle is that the people who focus on the right things at the right stage are the ones who achieve success the fastest. One example could be about this so-called capital growth and cash flow. One of the most typical mistakes that many beginner entrepreneurs and investors make is that they start looking for cash flow deals too early. So for example, I am just about to start investing. I make my first investment and it's immediately a cash flow investment. In other words, I don't yet have enough capital today for that cash flow to really help me move forward. But it seems to me that buying that first rental apartment is the first step I want to take. So by understanding which stage you're at today, and by understanding which actions and strategies belong to each stage and following them, you'll be able to move forward much faster. And when the time is right, you can move on from capital growth deals to cash flow deals. And maybe in parallel, it could be said that if you've bought yourself, for example, a McDonald's franchise, then don't try to make your own burger. And that's exactly what a lot of entrepreneurs tend to do. If the system has worked, has proven itself, and the model is profitable, then just adopt it as it is. Do it exactly the way it's supposed to be done, and believe me, the result will ultimately be better than if you start changing some components yourself.